Smidge.
A smidge.
Oh my God, there's no such thing as a smidge.
Welcome to the Fox Den, everybody. I'm Gina B. She's Mama D. We've got our guests waiting in the background. Now, usually I do make a bio video for our guests, but I did not have time because we were at Gettysburg Battlefield Bash this weekend and then coming home and recovering from that. And I got my book on Monday. It is, it's an intense read. Like I could have whipped through the whole thing, read the whole thing. However, I started kind of reading fast and then I got really interested and then I started slowing down and then I started the dog ears and you know me and I start the pages and the stars and the circles and the underlines and all that kind of stuff. So I did not get through the book. I'm going to give it its due justice by reading it slowly and carefully. But we did have a great time though, Mama. Everyone was that came by.
Yes, I heard. I saw.
This is like, oh, this is Gina B and Mama D.
Well, one day I will get down there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let me cross the gosh darn border.
I know, right? Well, you know, that would.
I know, Mama D's coming. Close the border.
It would be very good that you get down here. Let me so now I have to read, and I know I'm losing my voice again for that. I know I'm trying. So we have that wrote this lovely book. Okay, it is a mother and daughter team. Okay, so we have Norma J. Burton. She's a counselor with a degree in comparative religion, focusing on Buddhist and shamanic traditions, who specializes in trauma healing, shadow work, and dream analysis. Having apprenticed with Indigenous elders for over 30 years, she founded the Journey to Completion Institute of Ancient Healing Arts and the Circle of Trust Healing Center. Now, Norma and Nisha both live in Oregon. Nisha Burton is a skilled dream worker trained in the art of journeying into the deep subconscious from a young age. For the past decade, she has been immersed in the practice of lucid dreaming. She is also an award-winning filmmaker and branding and emerging technologies consultant for Fortune 100 companies. She's a speaker and a teacher at universities. And again, they both live in Oregon. And we welcome both of you ladies.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly.
Taking a mom's ears like. I just saw. I'm sorry. Who? Okay. Which is Nisha and Norma? Which is which?
I'm Nisha.
Okay, Nisha. Perfect. So Nisha, the look you just gave when Norma went to touch your hair is the same look my daughter gives me when I go to touch her hair. It's like,
I feel like it's a universal mother-daughter thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It truly is. My daughter came from Massachusetts down here to Pennsylvania to help me work this weekend at our event. And, you know, it was just wonderful to work with her all weekend. It's like a godsend to me. So
that's how I feel too. It's such a blessing to be able to team up with our adult daughters.
I know. And she looks so young too. Like my daughter looks really young. Everyone, you know, she's 42 and everyone's like, she looks like she's 12, you know?
And that makes me how old then?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what? Wait, no. But like I said, I mean, this was an intense reading. This has always been an intriguing subject to me. More so, you go through 3 different distinct like modalities in here, right? So with the lucid dreaming and with the drumming and the like psychedelics, right? To get into these trances and states. Now, drumming I've always wanted to do and never have. I'm like, I'm really, really like drawn to it. You know, Chris, my old host, he used to meditate to the drumming all the time. And I'm like, I never realized what he meant by that when he said that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a specific way to go into the drumming journey, you know, that is taught in shamanic cultures. And I've had my special training from the Huichol in it. And it's a special way to have a steady drum beat, right, that takes your brain waves into a certain pattern. And then there's instructions about what to do. So it's not just going into any meditative state with drumming, you know. I like to get that across to people. It's a very specific set of instructions about how to navigate down into the underworld and encounter the ally, the power animal, and then go on journeys with it. And you learn so much over time.
I like that.
Oh, but yes, that whole thing has me totally hooked. when you first started saying about power animals, you gave an example of a fox power animal. I was like, okay, all right, these are my girls.
Your power animal. It probably is.
It is definitely my power animal. You're in the fox den, so
Yeah, that's right.
and hers is a butterfly, but I like how you really do. You say it's like it's mapping our journeys. It's what, like journaling our journeys, right? So that's all within the growth of your journey, right? To do stuff like that.
Mhm.
I love how you teach everything. I mean, everything that you need to do is in here, and it's done well ethically, because ethics are very important when you're
Yeah.
dealing with this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So you did write about that, and why did you feel that that was important to put in there?
That's such a great point to bring up, right? Because in any kind of a healing practice, boundaries can be crossed and misuse of power can take place by the authority figure to the student or to the counselee. So it's really important for people who are being trained to be healers to be trained in good ethics and good boundaries. And one of the best ways to be trained in that is to do your own shadow work, which means looking into your own wounded places, right? And seeing how maybe power was misused against you when you were a child or in certain settings. And you might have a tendency to misuse power then in that same way. So you've got to heal those wounds inside of you so that you don't misuse power over other people.
Yeah.
So, right? So
I haven't seen Michael Robichaud here in a long time, and he's my favorite shaman.
oh, go ahead. He's there. Oh, good.
So we're kind of in your realm tonight, Michael, which is amazing. But yeah, I mean, ethically, morally, and what you're doing is definitely healing. Use this for a lot of things. You can heal yourself. You can heal, like you're using it even for in the mental health
Yes.
healing too, right?
Right.
So how does that work?
Well, I've been a mental health counselor, all through the years. Since my 20s, I got trained in psychology too, and in both, the modern Western medical types of psychology, but also I was blessed to be able to go and be with shamans in South America and Central America throughout the years and get trained in a beautiful indigenous approach to the shadow work and mental health. So combining those all through the years, I deal with people in complex trauma situations and have helped to be able to actually heal people without medications in different states of extreme split and psychosis. So I was one of the people early working on the spiritual emergency network in the Bay Area, where we would work with people in extreme states, but from a spiritual approach to it. So my healing center, the Circle of Trust Healing Center, has been a place where people could come from all over the world to be able to deal deeply with their trauma with altered states, not necessarily with plant medicine, just with working with dreaming and drumming journey and helping them to go into these altered states and find their trauma wound places and get their deep healing work done so that they really, really could be recovered from addictions and mental health problems. So I was so thrilled to be able to have a holding container like that for them where we could really go to those deep places of healing.
Yeah, because sometimes that's what's necessary. It's not, people think sometimes that healing, energy healing, or whatever kind of healing people are doing now, other than, we'll say, Western medicine, it should be like instant. And it's not. It's healing this way is we find that we have to find the center. We have to find the pit. And when you start from the center, it goes out. The healing goes outwards. Everybody's just like, oh, let's take a pill. Pills take care of the side effects, the symptoms. They don't get to the root cause of it. And this is what I find that healing in our genres is we find the root of it.
Right.
And that's the only way you can truly. You have to find where that seed is, where that little ant is.
Yeah. Did you ever watch that movie Inception?
No.
I did a long time ago, and I gotta remember it. I remember the title.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
No. Damon.
Yeah, but anyway, it's such a great movie about that, about going to the inception point of the wound, and that it takes time to get there. It's not a snap of the fingers. You can't get there quick fix.
Yeah.
It's going to take time and years to go back into the dream time over and over and into the deep unconscious until you find that inception point of the wound. Then you've gathered all the data. What I say is we sequester the shadow. We gather it all in one spot, and then we have the leverage to be able to shift it thoroughly and to really be able to get a person's power back from that original wounded place. So it's a deep process, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I get a little bit irritated with the grasping that goes on over psychedelics nowadays too. You know, not that it's not good to have these wonderful plant medicines available, but Western people tend to want that quick fix.
Yep.
Give me the cure through the pill, you know, so take this medicine one time and you'll be cured of everything. It doesn't really work that way, right? You really need the long, slow, deep work leading up to it. And the
Totally.
aftermath of
Michael Robichaud says, I consider it a root focus.
Yeah.
root focus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, root causes, root focus, I guess. Yeah, that's all good. And Nisha, now you growing up with her as a mom, you've had an in from the get-go, you know, like you've had a blessed life.
Totally. It's been really beautiful to be able to be raised in this lineage of dreamers, is what we call it oftentimes, because whereas many people are discouraged from their dream time from a young age, told, oh, that was just a dream, or get your head out of the clouds, you need to focus on waking reality is the most important and only thing. I was really encouraged in my dream time. So from the time I was a baby, from the time I was really little, my mom showed a deep interest in my dream time and encouraged me to go into it, to venture into those realms, understanding that what I was experiencing there was equally as important as what I was experiencing in waking reality. And also she led tours to sacred sites around the world, studying with healers and shamans around the world. So I went with her as a child, and I got to really have a multicultural upbringing and seeing other cultures that, again, really put an emphasis on the dream time and really appreciated the dream time. And being raised that way then primed me to be able to, one, just really track what was happening in those other realms and those other phases of consciousness and awareness. And then also it, I feel like, really laid a great foundation for my lucid dreaming practices that developed in my early 20s, where I really took it on as a practice of my life. And it's, you don't only like have spontaneous lucid dreams, but there are things that you can do during waking reality time to prime your mind to have regular and sustained lucid dreams at night. So that really took off for me, and I was able to go amazing places with lucid dreaming. And I think a big part of that is how I was raised. But really, I teach that anybody can learn to lucid dream, and anybody can take it on as a skill set and a practice in their waking life.
Right. And this book lays that out. And also what it does too is it's not only, it's for more, you know, practiced, well-versed people, but also for beginners, you know, so it's an everybody book, you know, I mean, yes, it gets intense. It gets into everything for sure. However, you do, this is my little parakeet. Now she's 9 years old. She's such a love bug. I just love her. She said, I love my dreams, and my mom and dad tell me I can be everything I dream to be and more, and sometimes they feel very real. And I love my little fox. She just gave me this little fox, this weekend, and I got my shirt and my bracelet on that she made me here. It says Parafox on it, and I named her the Parakeet because she's my little protege. And when I retire, she'll take over my Parafox name. She has to stay in the field, but that is awesome. Scholar she is. She's being lifted, and that is what we need to do with our children. Exactly what you did with Nisha, you know, and bringing her and exposing her and teaching her. Did you fight it at any times, or were you just totally accepting all the time?
Yeah, it's funny. I get that question a lot of like, did I have my rebellious phase? And really, I didn't. And I feel like it was because my mom, like you heard earlier, she exposed me to a lot of varied cultures and world spiritualities. And so it was never that I had to follow her exact path or pick ones that she was only aligned with. There was the freedom to explore what resonated with me, what didn't. And then through that, I was able to develop my own path and journey as well as following in her footsteps. And I feel like that helped to minimize any rebellion that I needed to have, because I was like,
she's
in a certain way.
she's letting you be you, and she's
exactly.
and she's raising you up. Michael says, I lucid dream along with astral projection and his spiritual journeys are root teaching to his reality in life. Yeah, and he can also do house clearings from distances and everything too. So yeah, I find I love the shaman way of everything. That's how like I cleanse a house and everything. If I'm doing that type of work, I'll use a shaman based thing. However, I mix in a little Catholicism. I mix a little whatever else I need to get the specific job done. But I do love everything about all of this. And I do want to know more about the drumming again, because we started there and we got sidetracked, but I wanted to just say the main thing when you were saying that there's a trusted person, like your starting point. In the case studies that you gave, Norma, you were their starting point. So they knew that they left you in a certain place and they were going to come back to you in a certain place, and you're going to be there to welcome them. So explain how that works and why that is so important. And that would be a thing that a beginner would need to know.
Yes, the drumming journey follows a certain pattern that's an ancient pattern that teaches you certain principles that are operative in going into an altered state or a liminal realm. There are certain rules that you follow that help you to have a successful journey. Just like if you were going on a road trip, used to be we'd get out the map, and we'd say, now, first you go here, then you go there, and then you'll get there, So it's the same way. There are these rules that you have to follow. So one of the first rules is you locate a portal place that's not made up. It's an actual place on Earth where you've been, an important place to you in nature. So that's so important, because a lot of times people start out on liminal journeys and they just think they pop in from their imagination. Well, that's not a good method to use, because then you don't know where you're going to end up. You're coming back to, right? So you've got to start from a place in nature. So you bring that to mind and you remember it in great detail, that exact portal place. And that becomes your portal place that you go in and out of over and over again. And cultures all over the world teach about this. And they used to, like in England, they'd protect the wells, because the wells were those kind of portal vortex places, right? So people have always known that we have these portal places where the veil is thin between the worlds, and the Celts called it, the betwixt and the between places, or the loose sod, where the earth is a little bit shaky. So anyway, these portal places, we all have them in our childhood, and places that we know, oh, I want to go there and start there. And then you're saying you leave somebody at the doorway that you trust, that's going to be there for you and just wait there for you. Lots of times I leave my grandmother or my childhood dog. So you can leave somebody that's an ancestor on the other side, or a living person. You leave them waiting there for you, because they signify you're coming back to that spot. And that tells your unconscious, you can trust into this, because you're going, but you're going to come back to this exact place. That's the next thing that you do, is you got to put your mind to work digging. And the mind needs a task, in any kind of meditation, you've got to focus your mind on something. As they say, it's a monkey mind. It wants to run all over the place and not focus. So in this work, we give it the focus of digging. So you just bring your mind back to digging over and over again. It's sort of like walking out on a diving board, digging, and then you jump off. And that jumping off is when you land in the underworld.
Yeah.
And the underworld is, interestingly, I've done it with people all over the world, and humans land in the same inner geographies. So that to me says that there are places that really exist in the other world that are geographical, so to speak, domains that we all go to, right? So that's amazing. Having done it with thousands of people, I've got to hear that over and over again, them describe the same places.
It's amazing. It is amazing. And then people have a misconception too when you use the word underworld.
Yeah, underworld.
Mhm.
Yes, it's digging down into the earth. It's going into your own unconscious. It's going into the dream time. It's going into a state other than our ordinary reality. And Nisha always says it's our birthright to be able to go there. After all, we go to sleep every night and we're going into those realms. It's half of who we are as humans.
Mhm.
So the ancient cultures would always have people go down and in first, right? Because there's the underworld to journey to, the upper world, and the middle world, these three domains. But we've got to go down into the underworld first because we've got to encounter our shadow and our trauma wounds and deal with those and become more impeccable, become more healed, and be
Explain the shadow and the shadow work too while you're in there, so people don't know.
We've got to go in there and look at our own trauma wounds, which create our shadow. So our shadow is, by my description of it, we get wounded at certain points in our lives. Like, I'll use an extreme example, like say if somebody's sexually abused, that's a huge trauma. And so the abuser might say to them, don't tell anybody. So then the person's voice goes into the shadow. I can't tell anybody. I can't speak of it. And sometimes they even completely forget it, therefore. And then they also say, be a good girl or a good boy. You better be good, not tell anybody. So then they start serving everybody and having to be a people pleaser and be really trying to be seen as a really good person. So that's their persona they present to the world, and the shadow that gets repressed and pushed under. So that's like, I'm holding my hands like
That
this.
is an amazing description here. Yeah.
Not a description, but that split is unstable. That's not a very stable setup to have ourselves split like that.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for a safe enough container to be able to be held safely, because the persona has to start coming apart. We need to not have to be so good all the time and to always be presenting like we'll take care of everybody else. And the shadow has to arise. So we might have our anger come up, or the voice of a no, or boundary setting. Those memories have to come up. So the persona has to deconstruct and the shadow has to arise. And that has to happen in a safe enough container. So that's why I created my Journey to Completion process, because it's a way to hold people very safely in that has to take place. So I wish for everybody listening that you will find those safe places with a therapist, probably, or a shamanic teacher, or somebody that can hold you safely, because every human has traumas, and we all need to go through that process of healing, of bringing back together our whole self. So then as that split gets healed, we become, solid and more integrity, and we know ourselves better, and we use power more properly. So that's why we've got to go down and in to heal those splits first. Then later you can go on journeys to the upper world, because what happens in the upper world? You go to palaces of light in the cosmos. You meet beings of great power. So you don't really want to be just going up first, because you'd misuse your power. And there's a great book from a Jungian psychologist that says shadow of grandiosity is one of the biggest shadows in our culture, grandiosity. Like thinking that we're more than we are.
Yeah.
Having gone down in.
The great I am. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I got you.
When you
owned.
Sorry, Norma, when you say that people have to find that trauma, and sometimes they've buried it so deep that they forget it happened. So how would you help somebody to help them, not a deep dive, but just give an idea of what it would take to help that person to be able to realize that, was it just my imagination? Did I make that up? Oh, it's not real. It was just something that my furtive mind just sort of came up with.
It's such an important point nowadays, for one thing, because a lot of research has been done on memory and some discounting of memory. But at the same time, memories peek through in all different ways and are trying to get your attention. And so we have to pay attention to the smallest symbols that come through. Like one time a woman just kept journeying to this place where there was a blue linoleum floor. That's all she could remember. but we stay with that. And every journey, go back there, see what happens, see what unfolds. And then gradually she was able to remember over many, many months that she was abused in that kitchen where there was that blue linoleum floor, you know. So our unconscious will give us symbols and little signs that we need to follow. We need to value every little sign that comes up in our dreams and our drumming journeys, because we are being guided. So gradually with this work, we build up a person's trust in their inner guidance system, because we all have an inner guidance system, and we grow to not trust ourselves, right? We start doubting ourselves, which is what you're saying, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Trauma makes us do, it makes us forget and wonder what the truth is. But by going through this deep work, you come to know the truth. And Buddhist meditation work,
some big chunks that I don't remember, but then again, that could be self-induced, as because I would have been very prolific in the psychedelics back in the day. but I don't remember.
We have to repress some things to protect ourselves, right? So that's what I think you're saying, Gina, right? Like, it's purposeful that we don't remember some things, because it's our unconscious protecting us. But then a certain time comes when we've got to know certain things. You know, like I worked with this one woman who's not able to remember things, and she was trying to journey down into the earth through my drumming journeys through a hole that was in her childhood backyard. She was about 6 years old. She couldn't get beyond that beginning hole. And so when a person can't time after time get into the underworld, then I say, okay, I need to journey with them into their realm. And so as a trained shaman, you know, I can go into their world and see what's happening. And so then I went.
A scary journey to do by yourself like that, you know. Then after they have you there, I'm sure that they get more comfortable, and then they can do that on their own.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You're so sweet. You're so kind and compassionate. Like I said, you really should be cloned. But I'm going to change the subject here for one quick second. With the lucid dreaming, when I was a child, like, I'm an artist. I'm a kind of jack of all trades person. But when I was young, I had this dream over and over and over and over and over. And I would wake up and I would go right back in it. And it was a house, all right? And it was a big, white, grand house. It always kind of reminded me of like the White House, but not really. You know what I mean? Like I drew it. I drew it out. I know that there was red tiles in the kitchen, a big, huge, like industrial kitchen. I remember walking in the front door, the landing, the steps, the huge long hallway. On this side was like all these arches and pillars, right, breaking it. And it was all like these little living room setups, like little vignettes of seating areas and such. Okay, over there, red, like the reds, and very, very, like vintage type thing. On the opposite side, there were doors and things, but between the doors, there were statues. Right, so there was all these definite statues. So like every time I would go in the stream, I would go further and further and further and further, and like I ended up in the kitchen. I'm so into this thing. What was hilarious of this dream, and I woke up actually laughing, and I still remember this like it was yesterday. Okay, out of the statue comes Robert Redford, and he's dressed in a Boy Scout outfit, like he's the leader, and he's got a whole troop of Boy Scouts behind him coming out of the statue like it's a hidden passageway. And they walk in front of me and they go out over into the living room areas. And I'm just like, what the heck is this?
The heck?
That is how I woke up, you know? But now, then I stopped having the dream. And it was years and years and years and years later. And now that I live in, I call it Pennsylvania. All right, but now that I live here, a friend of mine, we were driving around different areas. She's just showing me what's around. No kidding. Do I see a house on this street with all these big, huge, beautiful houses? And I swear to God, that's the house, right? As I'm looking at this house, driving made her stop, right? And it's really a far, far distance to get to the house. So it's a big front yard down now. a fox comes running from the backyard through the front yard, and I got goosebumps even talking about it. I was like, Marion, oh my God, I have to go up to the house. She's like, no, you're not going to the house. I'm like, I have to go up to the house. I really wanted to go up to the house so bad. She didn't let me. If I was by myself, I think I would have. I mean, they would have maybe called the cops and locked me up, but
I doubt it.
Excuse
me, can I come in and see the tile floor?
Just tell me if you have this kitchen that looks like this. It's just, but I don't like. Yeah. What is this? What is this?
That's a great dream, and it's full of so many elements that I'd love to talk about. So the first one is the last point that you just made, which is our dream time holds so much knowledge and information and precognitive insights a lot of times too, where we're seeing things, and when we're tracking and writing down our dreams, then we can see how those things actually appear in ordinary waking reality in the future. And sometimes I'll write down my dreams and they'll seem very random and like, oh, okay, well, this is just a random dream, but I'm going to write it down because that's the practice of what I do. And then the next day or the next week or the next month, that element, that scenario, that thing that was in my dream appears in waking reality. So I think that is a really big affirmation of how much we're tapped into in our dream worlds, and how if we don't pay attention to our dream time, we're missing a lot of information from the unconscious that it's providing. Another thing in there that's really fascinating is around this house, the structure, and these places that we revisit over and over again in our dream time. There are these dream world home bases, is what I call them, where you can remember through recurrent dreams that you're going to a similar familiar place over and over and over again. And so it's like there are these spaces within our dreams that we revisit, and with lucid dreaming can become comforting home bases that we then return to. And even you can do a practice of setting aside a certain room in a dream world home base house where you keep memories, or you go to speak with your higher self, or you go to speak with your inner child. So that is very rich and a great practice to take on with these dream world home bases. And then the final thing from Jungian dream analysis, right? The house is such a big archetypal image that appears within dreams. And a lot of times with the psyche, that really a lot of times reflects our interior worlds, our psyches. And so when a lot of people have dreams about houses or their house, but something is slightly different, like they'll find other rooms or other passageways, or maybe they'll go into the attic or down into the basement. And these are all symbolic elements that are showing what you're dealing with or working through within your psyche. One that I've had that's been a recurrent dream motif is that my house, somebody's trying to break into it. And I'm very frightened, and I'm seeing the person outside walking around, and I'm running around trying to lock all the doors and secure the house, right? Secure the interior world. But through lucid dreaming, I was able to transform that fearful dream sign and dream scenario, because in one dream, I was having this familiar thing happen where I was seeing somebody trying to break into my house, but I recognized that that was something that often happened in my dreams, which is what you're on the lookout for when you're practicing lucid dreaming. And so I had this moment where I thought, wait a minute, could this be a dream? Because this is something that happens in my dreams over and over again. And of course I was fearful, and I was like, I don't know. But I took a moment to pause, to ask that question, and then to perform what's called a state check or a reality check, which is an action you do to verify whether or not you're dreaming. So the one I used was I looked at my hands and I flipped them back and forth. And if you do that in waking reality, your hands will stay the same as they always are. But if you do it in the dream time, your hands will change. You'll grow an extra finger. They might glow a different color. Or one time I had my hands turn into lobster claws.
Damn.
Particular dream. I did that state check. I flipped my hands back and forth. And sure enough, I had an extra finger. And so I said, okay, I know I'm dreaming beyond a doubt. So now
you know that you can go and face that person.
Exactly. That's exactly what I did. So I went and I opened the door because I was fully lucid at that point within my dream. And I looked at this scary figure and I said, hey, I know I'm dreaming. I know this is a lucid dream and you can't hurt me. And at first he was like looking really threatening and angry. But when I said that, then he smiled and we both started laughing. And I invited this character into the house and we floated and flew around together in the house. So that's just an example of how you can have these recurrent dream patterns, but with lucid dreaming, then find resolution within them.
Well, I ended up being an interior designer too. So I'm like, because there's like all these architectural features that I remember in there so precisely. You know what I mean? Like I really can. I can see it in my mind perfectly.
I was going to relate to your dream around that, because I was going to say that it can be some guidance about your life and your life path, you know. So that's so interesting that it connected with you noting all those details of design and becoming an interior designer.
Yeah.
Because I had a similar repeat dream of a house over and over again, but it related to my path as a healer, because I kept dreaming. I lived in New Mexico at the time and kept dreaming of this building that was supposed to be my healing center. So I went everywhere around New Mexico looking for it for 3 years, never found it. So I thought, oh, well, maybe it's just a dream, you know, or I'm just imagining this. But then I moved to Oregon. And within a few months after moving here, people told me that this beautiful building had been built to be a retreat center, but the owners weren't using it for that. So I should see it. And I got taken there, and lo and behold, it was the exact building that I was dreaming over and over again. And
so you think I should go to that house?
Well, when you said that, I kind of did. Yeah. That if you saw that exact house, right? It's some, you know, what I did though, I didn't tell them right away, of course, oh, I dreamt your house. I had to wait and wait for a few years until the right timing. But then spirit opens the doors, you know, and it ended up that I ended up owning the building and being able to have my retreat center there. So something
in that house
going on about that white house though, and that you found it, that you did find it, you know.
In a box, no less. I mean,
with the box, right? Because you know what happened to me when I first saw the house? Same thing. The main power animal for me is a big king snake. And the owner of the house, when I drove up to it that first time, she came out and she said, you know, the strangest thing, a big king snake was sitting right across the doorway all morning, and it wouldn't move until when you drove up. So same thing with you seeing the fox, right? So it's amazing how the power animal will come into ordinary reality and give you that big sign. Yes, this is important. You know, take note. You're here. You found it.
Yeah, and I love having the fox, because the fox is because I do paranormal work and all that kind of stuff too as well. And the fox is that keeper of that realm between this and the next, you know. And when it first came very, very clear to me that the fox was my spirit animal, as I was on a guided meditation, and I was supposed to go into a room. Actually, I was supposed to go to just find my spirit guide, okay, or one of your spirit guides. And you know, you go into the cave, and then lo and behold, I see a little peak of light, and I, of course, you know, me being me, I have to go over and I have to uncrumble that, and it all crumbles down, and a field appears, and then there's a hill. On top of the hill, there's this big altar, and there's I thought was a man standing there, long robes, long hair, all right, and big book. But I'm looking up there and I'm going, and I'm thinking to myself, is that my spirit guide? But there's all these foxes, right? There's all these foxes here. And I go out and I'm in the grass, and I'm with the foxes, and they are like keeping me here, you know, but I'm comfortable with my foxes, right? So I'm just like, okay. I just knew when that thing turned and looked at me, I have the picture. I have to show you. There it is. Right? It looked like that. Okay.
Great.
And then I found out later, just the other one up there with the archangel picture, the name, like the little drawing, it's like reddish. They changed our little setup here, so it's a little hard to see our picture.
I think so.
Your fox looked like part woman, part fox.
Well, it kind of looks more lion to me. Oh, right. But right there.
Right there.
Ariel.
Wow. Archangel Ariel. Wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty intense. But it took me years to find out that too, because like, again, that picture I drew, and it stays in my mind. Like I can see it just like I did yesterday, you know, the day that it happened, you know, it's here.
See, that's what lucidity is. That's an example of lucid mind. Because when you say that, you can see it just like it's here. You it's a different part of our mind that comes online in the drumming journeys and in the dreaming state that can be lucid. Then you never forget it. Like you're saying, you always remember that image.
Yeah, and it's pretty captivating, and it just, that there is so much more out there than, black and white and what's right in front of us. And, it's like, well, now what? But you also know too, like your place. And I knew my place. I knew my place was to stay back here. And I know that my foxes were keeping me from going up there. I knew that being was a lot more powerful than I'd ever be, or hope to be. And it didn't say anything. It just turned and looked at me, and it turned and it went back to its work, or whatever. So, but then I slunk back into my cave, you know what I mean? But, this was one of the guided meditations too, it's like all this happened in the time that it was silent, that you're supposed to be waiting. And then all of a sudden the voice came, like trying to get you to come back, So that, I'm always like, I wonder if that voice didn't come in at that time, what would have happened? But I went back in anyway. Like, like that's not the right time for that.
You're bringing up an important point, because that's how the drumming journeys work. You're taken into this long silence where your own imagination is being met by these experiences. You're not just making it up. It's quite surprising what happens, and you're guided. And what you did the right thing according to the rules of the domain, which is you stay with your power animal. Don't go where your power animal isn't going. And you said you knew the foxes were keeping you there, but you could get a glimpse of that being up on the hill. But you stayed with your power animal, which is what you're supposed to do. And that's what we train people to do. And you have to learn to follow. It's called following after your power, and not going astray, or, going after your ego or your own ideas. But we have to link up with this relationship with the power animal, and it guides us. There's this inner I, thou, relationship, you and this other being. And that's beautiful how you really knew to follow your foxes and do what they did.
Over this weekend, I got a lot of foxy gifts, and Carmen gave me this one.
This woman has the Guinness World Book of Records different number of foxes in her house. And it's not because she buys them, it's because people give them to her. And I swear to goodness gracious, she's got so many. It's like,
I got so many foxy gifts this weekend, and this isn't even all of them.
It just warms my heart to see those.
I appreciate all of them and all of you, like, so much. It was just
so wonderful.
Yeah. It could make.
Carmen has a question in the chat. I don't know. I don't know my power animal. Like, I don't know any animal totems.
Yes. Well, it's not just something that you make up. You need to go on a certain journey to find out who it is. And so when I guide people on a drumming journey, the thing that you do, which I haven't seen it very many other places, but this is how I was taught by my shamanic teachers, that you have to give the animal the test of 4. And that means it has to appear to you from 4 different parts of itself, or come at you from 4 directions. And so when that happens, then that's my power animal. Now, Gina's power animal has come at her from 1,000 directions. Yep. She's got a lot of affirmation that it's her power animal. But really, when you first...
That hasn't been my only one, though. My whole life, I've had several,
Yeah,
I've had a mouse. I've had a rabbit. A rabbit actually was very prevalent throughout my whole design career. As a matter of fact, I put a rabbit in every single one of my designs. Even if I was painting a mural, like I paint clouds on a kid's ceiling, and I paint a little bunny in the clouds. You know what I mean? There's always a bunny involved somehow. And it evolves, and it evolves when we change. So do our animals change.
That's a good
like
point.
Paranormal. It's been the fox.
Yeah, because we have to have one being that we get to know really well in a certain era of our life, and that's the qualities that we've needed that come to us through that animal for a long time. We don't just jump around from one to another, but then at another era of our life, another one comes, and we deeply get to know that. So that's just what you're saying, So for me, for example, started out with the golden eagle all through my childhood. Then in my late 20s, it moved into being the king snake, and then it moved into being the dragon. And I then realized that the snake and the eagle came together into being the dragon. But I couldn't have taken the power of the dragon right away.
Chills
You know,
when you said that.
I really had to be led up to being able to accept the dragon.
Yeah.
So it worked with me for a long time as the eagle, then the snake, and then they came together into that. See the dragon behind us? I have
I'm
dragons.
noticing that.
You have foxes everywhere.
I have foxes everywhere, but I have a lot of bunnies left over too. Now Carmen, she's like, weird. Spiders always seem to find me, and I pray that isn't your spirit animal. Well, I'll tell you what, spiders are not a bad totem. They're really not. They bring a lot of knowledge with them and things that you need to know. Like Mama, I'm afraid of them too. But I had something was trying to tell me something. I don't remember what it was at the point, but in this house, no matter where I sat, it was a different kind of spider coming at me. And one in the middle of the night, I sleep on my belly and I have my arm like this, and no kidding, did it come up and crawl on my arm, and I'm like ripping everything. I'm vacuuming like a fiend all night long. The rest of every single, I'm just like, oh my God. But it was like it was told to me by someone that I trust very well that the spiders are bringing me signs and that someone is trying desperately to get me a message. So spiders are not bad.
Yeah.
They're not bad at all.
Yeah, I'll say that spiders are a power animal of mine. And, sometimes when we get power animals, they're not always like the furry, cute fox. Sometimes they are spiders or snakes or animal beings that we might be afraid of in our ordinary reality. And doing the drumming journeys and doing the test of 4 is a really good way to verify if it's your power animal. But you probably also will find that they're appearing to you in ordinary reality and then also the dream time. And with spiders being one of my power animals, I have a lot of dreams where spiders appear. And I don't always recommend that people look to dream dictionaries to interpret their dreams, but the area that I do recommend is if an animal is appearing in your dreams, because it's very significant when an animal being comes into your dreams, and just looking up what the energy of that power animal, that animal totem, once you wake up, what that energy is very insightful, because then you can find, okay, in relation to this dream I was having and the circumstances that were taking place within the dream, what was this animal's message, this animal's transmission to me energetically showing up in the space? So one of the messages for spiders is around the webs that they weave. And it's the energy of doing your preparation in ordinary reality for whatever you're trying to manifest or create, and then sitting back and waiting to catch, so to speak, to have the perfect opportunity come to you. And so the spider energy is very wise, and it's very much about that preparing, weaving your web, putting things in place, and then being in a receptive mode to know just the right moment when it lands in your lap, so to speak. And then you're able to take that opportunity fully.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's really honestly not a bad thing. And yes, I do kill them too, unfortunately.
I always take them out because they're my power animal. I
can't do it.
Scary. I'll get a cup and I'll take it.
I
slide that paper underneath that cup and just bring them outside. Yep, I totally get it. I leave them in my windows because then if I have little mosquitoes up in here in Canada, we get a lot of mosquitoes and black flies and stuff. I'd be like, hi guys, you want to clean the bugs? Go for it. Not a problem.
My niece used to work for me. I'm gonna just one quick story. There was a spider web outside my house, and when we'd come home from work, there was this spider that's like they jump out real quick and stop and then go back in. I don't know what kind of spider it was, but she named it Steve. So she would go looking for little bugs to throw in to feed Steve every day. She threw in a grasshopper one time, and then all of a sudden Steve disappeared. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have given him such a big thing. I don't think they like grasshoppers.
It's probably like it's a big ass thing invading my house.
Right. Yeah, it was Steve. It was outside. So if it was outside, it lived. If it was inside, it lived.
Didn't live. No, Gina, that time that Gina was talking about that she vacuumed, tore apart everything, she slept with her vacuum.
I did. I did.
I never stopped fucking remember.
Here under my arm, the clicker thing to turn it on was right there. I was so freaked out. Oh my God. But it was like, there wasn't, I'm thinking, oh my God, there must be some giant nest in my house. Everyone kept saying that. I'm like, no, because they're all different kinds.
Yeah.
You know, it's like these one single spiders are seeking me out. My house is huge. Okay. And they're going to find me. Really? Where I go, nowhere else.
Let's go find
Where
Gina.
God.
There you go. I have a question.
I
I have a question for both you ladies. Okay. I'll get them both out right away, and then you can choose how to answer that. Norma, when you say you do drum journeying with people, do you only do that live and in person, or do you do that on Skype or whatever the case may be? And for Nisha, what about those people who don't remember their dreams? My memory of certain things and certain times, it's just like, I'll remember things if somebody brings it up to me. But if you ask me now what I was like as a child, other than I'm a redhead, I get myself into trouble a lot, specifics. And there's a few things that I remember, but in general, I don't. And dreams, I don't. Just lately, I've been remembering certain things, but not long enough to sit up and write them. But it'll come in during the day, something I'll remember. So what about those people who don't remember their dreams or think that they don't have dreams, even though I know we do, but we just stubborn to believe not? Now it's up to you, ladies.
Everybody dreams.
Let you answer that in a more lengthy way. And I'll just quickly say, I do drumming journeys with people on Zoom all the time. I counsel people all over the world. And so it's great to have Zoom. Certain settings you can tweak on it so that the sound can come across. So I do the drumming journeys with people no matter where they are.
We're going to talk.
Yeah, and as far as remembering your dreams, that is a very common thing that people struggle with too, and especially if they're wanting to start lucid dreaming, but then they're like, well, I can't even remember my dreams, much less people have a lucid dream. So there are things that you can do in order to beckon your dream time forward. And just to touch on the point that you brought up, that people say, oh, I don't dream. Well, it's been scientifically proven that every person dreams, but it is just about that recollection. Are they remembering your dreams? So some things that you can do if you're having a hard time remembering your dreams is first to keep your dream journal right by your bedside. And when you first wake up, rather than moving around, rather than thinking about the emails you need to answer for that day or looking at your phone, don't do that. First, just stay with your dream and stay in the same position as you woke up. When you turn over, when you move around, that kind of erases the dream. A lot of times my mom will give the analogy of like etch a sketch.
Yep.
And is it, right?
Doesn't take much, but yeah.
Do like naturally move too. You can move back into the position that you were sleeping in and then think about, okay, what was I just dreaming? And really, rather than having self-defeating talk of, oh, I can't remember, I never remember my dreams, I'm not going to remember that, you have to set that aside and think, I will remember my dream, I can remember my dream, and then try to pull back even a tiny little piece of it. We have the metaphor of catching the tail of a dragon. So the dream is this giant dragon. Again, we love dragons. And if you can even catch a hair off the tail of it, meaning a little tiny piece of your dream, you'll often find that the whole thing will come flowing back in. So you then climb the back of the dragon and ride it back into your dream. So remembering a feeling you were just having, an object you just saw, a person you were just interacting with, a color, a smell, one little piece of the dream, more times than not, will lead you to be able to remember the whole dream. And then with the writing down, even if you just write, okay, all I could remember was that I felt sad when I woke up. If that's all you can remember, okay, that's fine. Write that down, date it. And the more that you do that, you are beckoning your dream time to come back to you and to speak with you. So you'll find as you get in the practice then of writing anything you can remember for your dreams, your recall will be strengthened and you'll be able to remember a lot more.
So like a lot of times when we wake up, we're afraid, like we're being the chase and this and that, falling, all that. You wake up, and you remember that right then, and you can go back to sleep because now you know that you're awake now. That was a dream. You can go back into your dream and stop this. You know what I mean? If you want to go back into that dream, you can at that point, And those are the things that you learn. So you can
purposeful, right? Because you can keep working with that scary image, and it can come through to not being scary. But one more thing I wanted to say about dream recall is that if you're doing a lot of things in your ordinary reality that have you go into a sleepy state or dreamy state, like I find that people who might smoke pot a lot, for example, in ordinary reality, it steals away their dream time, because you're spending a lot of time in your ordinary reality in that altered state, and so you cannot dream. So everybody needs to look at what things are you doing to be balanced between the dream time and ordinary reality. Like maybe you're drinking a certain beverage or eating a certain food or something that, is making you too sleepy in the daytime or draining your energy. We all have to come into balance. We've heard the word the absent-minded professor.
Mhm.
That's like somebody who's in ordinary reality and they're very smart, but they're spacey and they're not doing things right in ordinary reality. So we all have to be doing, things in our daily life that are healthy and that give us lucidity or consciousness in our daily life, so that we're acting right with energy. And then that helps us to go into the dream time and be able to function there well too, and remember the dreams. Because eventually the goal is that our ordinary reality and our dream time are meeting up in a very balanced way.
Okay.
Yeah. And I see Carmen's question too. And it's true that sometimes the dream time presents us with things that are like recurrent nightmares or past traumas or fears that then make us not want to experience that. And for a lot of people, that can have them shut down their dream time, where say they're having a recurrent nightmare or a sleep paralysis experience, and they're like, wait a minute, I don't want to be experiencing this. I don't want to remember my dreams at all. I just want to go out when I'm asleep. And to that, I would say that, of course, working with a therapist, working with shadow work and waking reality can really help with that. And the dream time is your inner world. It's your psyche. And so it's speaking to you and presenting you with things that are calling to you to be worked on in that time. And you can trust that pacing, because oftentimes if people are going a lot with psychedelics, those are taking you on their journey. And so then sometimes you will see things or experience things that might feel too accelerated or like too much all at once. However, with the dream time, it is moving with your inner pacing. So if something like a recurring nightmare is happening to you over and over again, that is your inner world calling to you to pay attention to the message that it's holding for you. And there are ways to work with it through the shadow work and through lucid dreaming, where, like you heard earlier when I talked about my recurrent nightmare of having the person trying to break into my house, you're actually able to find resolution to that trauma, to that fear, rather than having it repeat over and over again in a loop, as traumas do when they're unresolved. You can really bring it all the way through to healing. So it may be your inner world's calling you toward healing if you're having these fearful things happen over and over again.
Right. We always say too, like a lot of times during the day, spirits are trying to get messages to you, and they will get messages better to you at night because your mind is shut down. You're not all
Monkey brain.
raised with all the things you have to do all day long, so at night you can hear them. So they'll pester you at night unless you tell them don't pester
And
me.
also, like you were saying earlier too, the fear is very striking. And so it's almost like a shout from your psyche, from your inner world, whereas there might have been subtler dreams that were pointing towards similar things, but then it amplifies into something that is like a yell, a scream saying, hey, pay attention to this. So whatever that thing is that's needing to be paid attention to, then the nightmare gives you that. You're gonna
if you're not going to pay attention to the subtle things, you're going to get the whammy and the iron curtain and all that, so like, you need to pay attention. I should have paid attention when the first spider crawled on my arm. But I didn't. But it is looking out for the signs. People don't see the signs. People say, oh no, I don't have any signs, blah, blah, blah. Are you looking? Right? You must look. They're there. That you're getting signs all the time. What you're supposed to evolve into, what is your next process, what is your next phase of your life, what is your next path. It's all laid out for you. It really is. And you just have to accept it and go and follow it.
Jean, like, it's so great what you're saying, because the signs are coming, they're flowing into us all the time. And if you're really scared in a dream, one of the trainings about doing it in the drumming journey is that if you get really scared, you need to call out for the ally. So even in your dream, if you can remember that, call out for an ally. But then if you have the scary dream and you wake up, then think of that too. It's telling you, if you're really scared, call out for an ally, call a friend, call a therapist, your mother, somebody you can talk to, like call the ally when you're really scared. That's such an important thing to do, right?
Carmen, call on me. Come on. I'll stand in your corner. I'll be right behind you. I might push you to play though a couple times. They may or may not do that. I'll pick you up if you fall. I may laugh first, but I'll pick you up. I mean, I'm joking, but it is a very serious matter.
Such a trickster. The fox is such a trickster and playful.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's it's smart, it's witty, it's creative, it's playful.
It's Gina.
It's Gina.
And the kitsune too. I love the kitsune, with the 9 tails and how you evolve and you get your tails over every 100 years until you have all your 9 tails, and then you can be a shapeshifter. You know what I mean? It's like really, it's the realms are really cool. I like the iconology. I like all of it. I mean, it's fascinating to me. Mm-hmm. But I've lived it. So is this slay fox or sly fox?
Slay, but she's sly. I think she meant.
Yeah.
Slay, like slay. It's like a good thing.
Slay, a good way, in a good way.
It works both ways. Either slay or sly.
Right.
Yeah. I want to show. I don't know if you can see this. You have this little illustration in the book, Nisha, that you did of your dream. What do you call this? It's just writing is too small.
Glasses.
It's talking about the axis mundi, which is the ladder that you go up and down. And how we were talking about it in this book is that through the drumming journeys and dream work and then psychedelics too, we're going on this inner ladder up into the cosmos, into altered states of consciousness, into non-ordinary reality, and back down. But sometimes people who take psychedelics and don't know these pathways, these maps, which is a lot of what we teach about in the book, they can get lost or not know how to come back down that ladder once they ascend up. And a lot of times that can create fragmentation within them or a bad trip, where people are experiencing being shot up into the cosmos or into altered states, but not knowing how to navigate in those realms and not knowing how to ground themselves back in. And so the teachings around the drumming journeys, like you're hearing, teaching you how to go into the underworlds, to go into your psyche in a very precise way, as well as with lucid dreaming and the pacing that it takes you on of learning, okay, now I'm doing this within my dreams. Now I'm learning how to call on my guides. Now I'm learning how to get these messages. Now I'm learning how to deal with the fears and the shadows and the traumas. When you learn that very paced out and self-directed way of moving in your psyche, then you're prepared to climb that ladder both up and down in a skillful way. Not slip and fall.
Yeah.
Gina's good with that part as well too.
Oh yeah, fall.
Especially a ladder. Gina, she's gonna fall on her tuchus.
Yeah, I'm a fall risk. I go in the mild operation. It's like, you fall? Like, yeah. Big
One thing I forgot to tell you ladies when we start, if I look like I'm zoning out, like either like this or over like, because I do the technical part, I comment about things, and so it's not that I'm not paying attention, because I am here, just these are doing other things.
I have been not paying attention because I've just been enthralled with these beautiful women.
I know, and it's hard.
These are the websites down here. Okay, so
I will be putting the links into the chat room, people. You know how
it goes. Scrolling. Now you can find them on Instagram at lucid_dreaming_lucid_living. I'm saying that out loud for our audio only version of this show that will go out tomorrow. On the Facebook, the Facebook. What am I, 100? All right, on Facebook, you got Nisha.Burton7 and Norma.Burton.393. Okay, and those are www.facebook.com. On TikTok, it is at Lucid Living 1. Their YouTube channel, at Lucid Dreaming, Lucid Living. All right. I am going to subscribe to your YouTube channel because I just think you two ladies are amazing. So I'm going to let that ticker go there so that people can get you. Now the book is available kind of everywhere now, right? But it just came out. So it just came out this month.
Came out in early July, and it's available wherever books are sold. And all through the years, I've been teaching classes in person and on Zoom with the deep journey to completion process. But now it's so exciting as Nisha and I are coming to work together, because she's a really great online course creator too. So we're creating this whole Dreamtime Mystery School in online courses, which is going to be coming out this fall. We have several of them done already. So please go to our website and sign up for our mailing list. And then you'll find out about all these online courses, that smaller ones that you can do at your own pace, really low price point. And then, you can work up to working with us more and more deeply. And we're going to have these wonderful in-person seminars where we're going to be working on the lucid dreaming and the shamanic work together. So yes, watch for the courses to be coming out.
Yeah, and right now on our website too, we have one free course that is about sleep hygiene and your morning routine and how to really cultivate those and work with them so that you're able to remember your dreams and have clearer and more present dreams. And so it's about all the things to do before you go to bed as well as when you wake up to cultivate this practice of dreaming that then builds up toward lucid dreaming and all of these wonderful things that we've been talking about today. So that's right on our website.
Yeah, so go get that free gift. And then one of our first courses you're going to love, it's Animal Instincts. So it's all about the animal world and the drumming journeys and how to practice it and how to do it over and over again. So there's a lot of guidance there in the Animal Instincts course.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh, and I even have my paw print.
Oh, what is that, a spider?
No, that's a paw print.
Oh yeah, look at that.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah. I love it's onyx.
So fun to talk to both of you because we're just.
I think you guys are going to go so far. I mean, you could just see how just kind. Seriously, I said this already. How kind and compassionate, and how truly caring that you are. You believe in what you do. A lot of people we have on our show, you know what I mean? Yeah, they do some really cool stuff. They got some really great books, and we learn a lot. But it's like their heart and soul is not in it as much as you are in this. Like I said, I could have skimmed through this whole book. I could have read this book, between Monday and today and had it done. But it's like I started reading it faster, and I'm going, wait a minute, no.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really.
Squirrel stopped running around and it started to sit there.
It just really fascinated me, really captivated me. I really want to, again, do what it's due diligence, read it better. Then now that I know you and I have the pictures of the faces and the knowledge of you as I'm reading, it takes it
together.
Form, in my mind, and I can understand it more, So you guys are just so amazing, so amazing.
Yeah.
And what I like about the two of you is that you show the strength and power of the women, the mother and daughter connection. Yeah. And this is something that, I'm sorry, but this is something that we as women need to be bringing forward as much as possible. With all the that's going on, Canada, US, wherever you are in the world, that there's so much going on that are trying to get the women's power down. And you're proof that as a mother and daughter team, it can happen. We can make it work.
Yes.
The thing is, I see in the two of you, I see you and myself and my daughter. We've never worked together like that, like you are, but we work well together when we do get together. Mm-hmm. So this is something that I think needs to be put out there, not just because you are awesome at what you do, but what you do and who you are like totally entwined. And this is something that is amazing.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Yeah, Nisha, I'm like so jealous of you to have a mom like this.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. And I mean, what you were just saying too is so true. And I feel like a big reason why we're so passionate about what we do is that these teachings really are about personal empowerment. And
Yep.
so much of the time we're trained to externalize our power, to look to the external authorities to dictate how we should live our lives. But the teachings that we're bringing forth are about turning inward and learning from your own inner guidance system and seeing how you have access to so much knowledge and so much beyond this ordinary reality that really that you can live life in a more lucid way because you're bringing everything back from the altered states, the non-ordinary reality, the dream time into this waking reality, touching in with your true inner power and then being able to move and lead and create from that space.
You see, Nisha's career is not so much like mine, you know, the psychology and the therapy, that she's always been clear since the time she was really little that she was going to be a filmmaker. So she went to school and college and everything for filmmaking, and she's a wonderful filmmaker and digital media artist and works with the emerging technologies of AI and everything. So that's really amazing, an amazing merging of the dream time with her
what's
work,
going on.
you know. So the dream time really will ignite your creativity and guide you in the creative direction that you're supposed to go, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're both so talented, super talented. You know, this doesn't have to be your entire life. This is just a
It guides you towards your purpose, right?
Yeah. You know, and then again, I had such a great time working with my daughter this weekend. It's like we run this huge Paragon in May called the Penhurst Paragon. We had 9,000 people come, and I had my daughter came and helped me there. Thank God, you know. But after that, like in all my worker bees, all my helpers, you know, I sent them all beautiful thank you notes and everything with Fox on it, you know. But very heartfelt because I just, you know, I was so emotional after this, you know. But after she worked with me, then I actually sent her a thank you card too. And then I said, and by the way, we have the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in July, and we have our Unity in November. And I'm giving her the dates, like, you know, so you have to come to these things with me. But what's really great is we got to dress up. There was a masquerade ball, and she has her how can I even put it? Her taste in music is not like my taste in music, but she gets very involved in it, and it's like she likes heavy metal stuff, but like these bands that have meanings and totems and things like that in them. So Sleep Token is one of her favorites. They do masks. So she had bought this mask. She paid like $300 for this mask. I'm like, oh my God, she's insane. But it was made by the hands of the people that make the mask for this band. So she had to have it. But she bought it to put on her wall in her music room, which is like intense and amazing. And she takes after me in that sense with the stuff and the decorating. But I said, there's a masquerade ball. She goes, oh, I have a mask. And it's like the blind person mask too. So it comes over your whole thing, you know what I mean? Covers your eyes. You can see through it, but it doesn't look like you can. She was so happy she got to wear that, you know? And of course, I put on a wig and everything. I said to everybody, you're not going to recognize me.
Yeah,
so
she turned into a redhead.
I had a long red wig, but I had my box mask. So that gave it away. But she got theirs.
So much fun in your life and in your community and in your community building. And it's a great example of a mother and daughter having fun together, you know, right?
Yeah.
That's what we have to do, like find what each other enjoys and uplift each other and have fun together.
We don't all have to do exactly the same things, you know. I mean, we don't. We, you know.
No.
Do the same, right?
Exactly. You might come together at the events, and that's what's, you know, when you do things together, it's awesome. But yep.
Yeah, I've taught her so much stuff, and she learns like this. My other daughter, on the other hand, is a little trying to say.
She's your shadow.
Right. We're here to heal the lineage patterns, even if it's our shadow stuff we've got.
Yeah.
Battlegrounds. We'll just leave that as a battlegrounds. We need the war drums for that one.
So sweet, just so adorable.
But can we talk about psychedelic stuff for a little bit here? Now, what is the proper steps? What is the proper thing to take? Should you go to location to do this?
Never take them alone. Number
Right?
one.
Like, yeah, to explain the whole thing.
Well, we live in Oregon, and Oregon is the first state to legalize the use of psilocybin in therapy.
Okay.
So it has to be done in a therapeutic service center with trained facilitators who are trained in psychology and trained in the depths of working with the psyche. So it's held very carefully and in a therapeutic context. So that's a good way to do it. So people can fly into Oregon, come here to have a psychedelic therapeutic holding like that.
Mhm.
That's possible. And then, lots of people go to the Amazon or, to South America, work with shamans. And I would just say, be careful who you choose,
Yeah.
some trustworthy and some untrustworthy ones, so you've got to be really research and be very careful who you choose to do it with, because you need to do it with somebody you've really vetted and that they're really trustworthy guides and knowledgeable too. So our book, like you're bringing up, gives a lot of recommendation about how to safely approach doing psychedelics and the things that need to be in place in your life, in your like, talk about set and setting, which means like the physical environment as well as the emotional setup of it. So it's yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, in our book, we talk about how there's 3 key ingredients that you need when you're venturing into altered states and the psyche, which are a map, and that's what's provided in the book, but a clear map that was my mom developed through the journey to completion of how to both go in as well as exit out. And this isn't just for psychedelics, it's for altered states of consciousness, dreamtime navigation, all of these things. But for psychedelics, it really applies and helps. The second thing is a guide, like my mom was just talking about, a clear and trusted and trustworthy guide who is going to be taking you into these realms and helping you navigate. And then the third thing is a clear intent, which is so important, having that intent of why am I doing this? Not a lot of people do it recreationally or just like they're at a festival and they're like, oh, I might as well. And, that can be okay sometimes, but oftentimes that's where people kind of go off course. So really understanding, why are you being called to a particular plant medicine? What are you wanting to learn in your life at this time? And what is the purpose? What is your intent, your intention, working on that for quite a while leading up to your experience?
Yeah. That's what I was going to bring up next, because that's like so important. That's important in every work. I think it doesn't matter what it is. Intent, what is your intent? You're going to start a business. What's your intent? Right. I mean, it's everything. So
your intent will be accomplished. I always say, like we might have unconscious intents and they will be accomplished too, right? Like your intent will come true. So it's important to clarify your intent.
Yeah. And it's good to have the healing thing before you get, too, so to make sure that you're nice in a good place before you keep venturing, because bad intents and bad things, these seeds that are planted way back, like you were saying, childhood traumas, those types of things, those things need to be healed. They need to be brought forward. They need to be dealt with. They need to be put to bed, so to say, healed, and then move on, and get your lesson out of it.
Plant medicines will bring those up almost always.
Yeah. Almost
Sometimes they give you an easy, light journey, but most of the time they're going to bring up some aspect of your trauma wounds for you to look at and for you to heal. So it's important, how they talk about the neuroplasticity of the brain that takes place when you take the plant medicine. That means that your neurons are actually, loosened up and not needing to follow the same patterns. And I really find that the plant medicine will take you into patterns of love, patterns of deep emotional sense of connection and forgiveness and love. So they're healing our stuck patterns of thinking and taking us into a more neuroplastic, open way of feeling the love and the forgiveness. But that being said, that's why you need it to be held in a good container, because your brain does get neuroplastic when it's in that state. And you want to make sure you got good influences going on around you, Yeah. So on the other hand, I just want to emphasize not fear about them too, because so much fear has been brought up about psychedelics, which isn't so necessary either, because humans all over the planet have been working with these herbs and plant medicines for thousands
Since the beginning of time.
beginning of time. And they've been, especially in the hands of women, to be the guides, And so
no, they needed that to deal with the men.
Yeah, right. Great. Yeah.
Sorry.
I really listened to the women too, right? And took their guidance. So it was good. So yeah, right. So we've got this ancient wisdom. So that's my part. And I like to bring forth the ancient wisdom that exists in our culture and all cultures to train us in how to be with these medicines. When I worked with the Huichol, who are a tribe in central Mexico for many, many years, they didn't have us take the plant medicine right away. Like, they did a lot of work with us, training us leading up to it. And then you didn't do it all the time. You might do it once a year, And so you don't overuse it. It's like a big punctuation point and and then you go on into your life to practice the good ways of being, right?
Yeah. And it's more of a tool, whereas it's not a recreational thing. It's a tool. It's something that helps you to grow.
There's so many different ways to get into those states. I mean, in all these indigenous tribes and the, like all the mounds people and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they all use so many different methods. And then there's the sweat lodges and then this and that. All these things, just to take you on these journeys. And if there wasn't something to it, then all these generations and generations and generations of peoples around the world would not have done it.
No, exactly.
And there's a wonderful book called Christianity and Shamanism.
Oh, really?
And I've always thought this, but I've always thought Jesus was one of the greatest shamans that ever lived, because he follows that shamanic pattern, having a calling and a clear intent, and then going into the difficulties, into the underworld to grapple with the shadow and coming to a victory with it, and then rising again and coming back into ordinary reality with a powerful resurrection message, a healing.
Oh, Michael has that book.
Put that back up.
Christianity and Shamanism. Yeah. So
he did it back in the 70s when most people most people knew this spiritual journey that helps shape practices as a shaman.
Yeah.
Michael also has that book that you were just speaking of.
Yeah, the 70s was big on that, transcendental everything, you know what I mean? So,
and one more thing I wanted to say about what you just said is that the reason we wrote this book is exactly what you're saying, to remind people that there are all these other ways to go into the dream time and altered states that are so exciting and just as vivid, and you can learn just as much, and not psychedelics. Those don't have to be the only roadway into the altered state. So we wanted to remind people about that and teach them about the other pathways.
Yeah, and touch in with the subtle ways of experiencing that we all within ourselves have access to non-ordinary reality, and we're constantly venturing into altered states. We drink tea, we drink caffeine, we do breath work, we do yoga, we meditate. All of these things are varied states of consciousness, but our culture, again, is so fixated on extreme states, just in general, extreme emotions, extreme right? And so we disregard the subtle. We disregard that we are constantly navigating in these liminal realms every day. So bringing people back to that realization. And then, like my mom was speaking about with the neuroplasticity, psychedelics can be a great inflection point to give people an experience of shifting their perspective in a really big way, right?
He says he can do it now without those things. And that's the point.
Exactly. that is what you build towards. And then when you do have those moments of a shift in perspective, then the time afterwards, the integration is so important, because that's where the meaning making happens. And that's a really big key component to gathering transformation through these various modes of altering consciousness, is to then remake meaning in your life, because we're constantly looking at reality through various lenses. And sometimes our lenses are fogged or colored a dark color. And so to be able to see from a different lens and then rewrite your inner stories with that new perspective, which is a lot of the work of the journey to completion too, is really a key element of why one should engage with psychedelics in the first place. Yeah.
Nisha just finished a wonderful workbook today that's going to be coming out online. That's all about purpose and meaning making from the altered states. It's really great exercises in it. So I'm excited for you all to have that.
Yeah.
Make sure that I'm going to have to do some retail therapy.
Right? Yeah. The good type of retail therapy. But yeah, really true. Like, dreams are giving you messages all the time and showing you meaning and how you're making it. But oftentimes, again, if we're not paying attention to them or writing them down, we're missing the messages because we're not learning our personal symbol dictionary within how our dreams speak to us. And so then it's like, oh, I saw this spider crawling across my floor in the dream. That doesn't really mean anything. I'm just going to disregard it. But no, if you take time to think about and write down, okay, what was the spider's energy? What floor was it? What else was in the room with me? You might find that there's really significant elements in there about your life journey and what's happening in your current life experiences that you would miss otherwise. So you see these patterns that appear in your dreams that are called
even a picture. There's a picture on the wall. You know, what's in that picture? What colors are there? What's it representing? You know what I mean? And there's like, you can look up a lot of these things, like if it's an animal or whatever. Yeah, the spider, is it going away from you? Is it coming to you? Is it, you know what I mean? Left, right, whatever. It just as much as you can remember. So
make note of it all. And then, like I said, rather than overly rely on dream dictionaries, which are very broad descriptions of what.
Oh, no, I'm talking about looking up animal totems.
Right? Just the animal totems are great to look up, but then also learn about, okay, well, I see in my dream, I've often, one for me, for example, is that I'm often in an airplane or in an airport and traveling and trying to get from one space to another. And sometimes it won't be working. It'll be really stressful. So that's a recurrent situation. And then looking at that as my personal dream symbol, it can relate to, if I'm feeling like I'm in a moment of transition in my life and things aren't going as planned, or if I'm feeling stressed or anxious about it, or if I'm having an airport dream and it's all going really smoothly, then that shows me, okay, right now I'm in a moment of transition and it's feeling like it's working really well. So that's an example of how you can see the symbols and what they mean in your waking reality.
And everybody sees their symbols differently. Just because you see, you might see the spider in one way is like, ew, get away from me. And somebody else might see, oh, okay, like this means something to me. This is bringing me a message. Pay attention to it and everything that surrounds it. And I think that's one of the things that like when we talk about people going, well, how come I haven't had a sign from those who have passed on? A lot of people look for the big thing. Like all they see is that spider. They don't realize the little things around the spider because they're so focused on the big thing. So sometimes the things that happen around the spider or around what's going on, that, you know, it's not always the fireworks. It's sometimes the afterglow that makes more importance.
Really important point, to pay attention to every little thing in the dream.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and really it is like, as soon as you wake up, you have to write it down, because 2 minutes after that, it's gone. Yeah. And then also, though, I got to bring up too, like in the paranormal, I always say, like, if you're going to remember a dream and you really remember a dream, this is a definite message that you need to hear. You know, there were dreams, and then there were message dreams. So the message dreams you will definitely remember, you know. And again, not listening, it will get harsher and harsher and harsher and harsher until you do remember. But now, can I ask you a question? This is like one of the written out questions, and I try not to do that too much, but this one is, I just can't think of another way to word this. Can you discuss how technology like biofeedback, devices, or VR might interface with traditional psychonavigation practices?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just gave a talk on AI and spirituality.
Ooh.
It's going to be on our website. So,
Oh.
Yes, I mean, we are going into the Aquarian age when there's going to be so much more advanced technology. So,
Mhm.
so it's
See?
not going away. You know, we're interfacing as humans in our spirituality with all of these incredible machines, and there's so many advancements in PEMF, like electromagnetic pulse machines, and machines that do affect our thinking, our brain waves, and the healing machine, all different machines that you can carry around with us, and they'll affect your mood, they'll affect your health in all different ways, right? So it's wonderful. There's so much knowledge that's coming with energy. So there's nothing at all wrong with that. But on the other hand, our bodies and minds are incredible machines, right?
Yep.
That we don't know enough about. So we really need to, do things that tune into our body, minds, with all of the incredible capacity that we have. We only use such a small percentage of who we are.
Yeah. And I'll say, as you heard in the introduction, a lot of my life career path has been working with emerging technologies. And so virtual reality, augmented reality, AI. And I get really excited about it because with these new technologies, there's an opportunity, VR, for example, to bring people into this very lived experience of a different state of reality, of consciousness in waking reality, but in a controlled way too, right? When you take a psychedelic, then you're on that journey. But when you're in VR, you're in this space that at any point you can take the headset off if you want to, and yet your body and your brain perceives it as a lived experience rather than when you watch a movie and you're kind of separate from it. So there's an opportunity to train people in and to give people experiences of non-ordinary consciousness within virtual reality. And with AI too, I love using it to talk about my dreams and to help me create pathways and connections that I might not have seen otherwise. So it's not about depending on it to interpret your dreams for you, but oftentimes when I've put my dreams in, I've seen new connections and realizations that I didn't see in the first place. So we're actually working on an app right now that's trained on all of our deep teachings and knowledge
I
to
love it.
work with your dream time using AI and the kind of like the technologies that we've developed around lucid dreaming. So really, I feel like, yes, there are so many ethical considerations to take into account, and there are fears that are rightfully so out there in their consciousness, but these technologies are tools and they can be used many ways as tools can, but they can really be used in positive ways for our.
It's the wave of the future. It's the next step, and I think, doing something like that would be interesting. Because I mean, I like putting the headsets on. I do that at my daughter's, we play the games and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, here I am, like looking over. She's like, "Mom, it's over here." I'm like, "Yeah, but so that's what I do." It's like, "Well, what's over here?"
See how it works.
But I love it. I'm just curious. You know what I mean? I want to see it all. I want to learn it all. I want to see it all. I want to do it all. But I do. I think it is a great wave of the future. I think it is a cool tool to be able to use. And I just think that's the stepping stone to really, I think, because visualization is tough for people. Right? Even when they're trying to do a guided meditation, it's tough for people. If they have that on and they're listening to a guided meditation, and you're actually taking them down the path, down the pathway, follow by the river, by the babbling brook, across the brook, do the whole thing. You know what I mean? And you can do it that way, and then they're seeing it. And I think that would be so beneficial to the people that just can't shut that monkey brain off. So I think
it leads to a level of presence and immersion that oftentimes people don't have with maybe
Right.
going in through guided visualization or even just watching a screen. When you're enveloped in the virtual space, then
Yeah.
you can really feel what it's like to be present there and be focused. And then you can learn these things in a firsthand way, like training in lucid dreaming. That's another thing we're working on, a VR lucid dreaming training simulator, and being able to have people have these experiences of performing a state check and then having that shift the reality into the lucid dream. Then that's priming your mind for when it goes into the dream time to be able to have a similar experience.
Mhm.
Level of
Do you need testers?
yeah, definitely.
We're in.
Okay, yep. What I like about this is that, okay, this is from an old lady here, is that what I learned, way I'm learning or way I learned is one way. It's like pen and paper and AI and all the things that are coming are the digital age. My granddaughters, adorable as they may be, know more about computers than I do. My niece, who's like 10 years old, probably older, but you know, I'm old. I forget ages of people. She knows more, and she's very gifted in so many ways. And for her mother is like, yeah, go for it, because my sister and I are like very close. She made me open my eyes, pop out of the closet, whatever you want to call it. But her as a mother allows her child, the youngest child, has such a connection to spirit, and like, and she's like one of those moms like, yeah, go ahead, you know. And through that, there's so many things that are coming with the AI and all the other things that are coming, that the younger ones that are coming up are going to be like, this is the way, this is normal for us.
Yeah.
And for old codgers like me, I'm like, I'm not afraid of learning new things. There are some people who are afraid of, oh my God, AI, it's robots, they're going to take over the world. No, maybe, but no, not now.
Oh, it is the new world. It really is. I was just gonna say something and I totally lost it.
It's all right. See, every time I talk, I make her lose her mind.
About, like she says, like in the 90s, everyone was so afraid of the internet. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It came, and it is very important in our world, but everybody's always afraid of the new technology, but it's coming, and you just have to go with it. And she always talks about a lot of us need to use it for good.
Right.
AI is good, you know.
Exactly.
There need to be enough people that are using it in the right ways and envisioning a future that they want. Because I feel like, again, being a filmmaker, through the media, we've been really trained in a dystopic vision of how AI, robotics, emerging technologies can go. But we need to counterbalance that with a positive vision of where we can go, steer our collective ship in that direction. And the more people that are good-hearted and working with these technologies in good ways, they're going to be able to tip the scales towards a good direction.
Exactly. And as older generation, included, when we're accepting of it, it shows other people that it's not, you know, can people use this for negative? Oh, heck yeah. But you can use a piece of paper for negative too. Pen and paper can, you know, so AI is the same thing. So, but you just have to be willing to be open to the possibilities. It's like everything else in our world. Be open to the possibilities. If you try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But if you never know, it's like eating a new food. Try it. If you like it. If you don't like it, don't have to eat it again. If you don't like AI and what it brings to expanding who you are and what you can do, then you don't have to use it. You know, I've just discovered Chat GPT, I don't know what the hell it is. I know what it is. I know what it does for me. It's helping Gina and I create a possible deck for the future.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. That's it, Mama. Thank you. The use of tarot and oracle cards in this scenario.
We did that, you know, our first book is Lucid Dreaming, Lucid Living. That's the title of it. And Nisha created a set of oracle cards to help people learn lucid dreaming. You got to get it. You're going to love it. It's beautiful.
Okay.
And it was created before AI, generative AI. So I'm also a digital artist, and all the images are drawn from my dream time. And sometimes people will be like, well, did you make these using AI? And whereas I have nothing against that, I was like, no, I spent like 10 hours on each card designing it. So really
Yeah.
the visuals are a way of anchoring in the teachings around
Yeah.
dreaming and gaining lucidity, and then being able to pull cards and be intuitively guided to your particular messages. I find is a really helpful way for people to learn lucid dreaming, because sometimes they'll read a book and they'll get maybe a little out of that, practice it for a while, and then fall off the practice of lucid dreaming. But by pulling the cards, you're able to, in a simple and fun way, just say, okay, what's my message for today? What's my teaching for today? Draw a card and learn about lucid dreaming. And then it's an oracle deck too, so you also get the guidance for your waking reality. Yes, so that's the deck right there, front
That's
and back.
huge.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a full book too. It's a 200-page book that is all about lucid dreaming, along with the cards.
Wow. I like that.
It's playful too.
Well, we have 50 cards each.
Yeah.
And, fox cards, butterfly cards,
Oh,
So
cool.
we're thinking of doing like a fold type deck, have the fox cards and the butterflies on the other side. So the fox teaches and the butterfly reminds, so.
And it's not exactly an oracle deck we're doing. This is more just a knowledge, daily knowledge. It's like what today the butterfly teaches you, the fox teaches you, and the butterfly reminds you. And it's like I've been trying to put up every day some of the things that I've been coming up with as for saying for the cards. It's like, and it's this Facebook is like it's a platform which allows us to try things out. People like it, they don't like it, doesn't matter. But once I see something in my brain, and then if I put it into we'll say whatever app that I'm using to try and create it, and then I put it up on Facebook, it makes me see it in a different way. Because one of the things that I have the ability of doing, which irks my children, but hey, I can see both sides of the fence. If you come, like if my daughter comes to me and goes, Mom, I need to have a chat with Mama D. Then I sort of take out the mom brain, and then I do what I call sitting on the fence. I listen to what she has to say, and then I give her both sides of the what I see as the good and the bad. But I always say, when you get the list from somebody else, you also have to make your own list. So if you're seeing something, then you have to go and make your own list and just sit with it and learn with it. And it's like, ooh, more people. It's so for me, that's like, I just went blank for a second there.
Seeing from both sides of the fence.
Yeah. I'm able to, when I step out of me, I'm able to see those things. God forbid I try and do it for myself, because then I'm like, no. I can see it, and this is the good path, and this is the not so good path. And I'm like, well, let's go this way. I'm a redhead. What can I say? It's just special.
I love it that you are teaming up in so many ways, co-creative ways to bring out these teachings, but it's a beautiful way to get both of your teachings out there in a playful way to bring the card deck. Yeah.
And the thing is, Gina and I have never actually met.
Wow.
Never in person? Nope, never have. I'm up here in Quebec, Canada, and she's down there in Pennsylvania. And it's just, she was a guest on my show, and then I was a guest on her show, and then I came back and I trolled her show chat. And every time she had
all the links up all the time.
Exactly. I would put the links for the guests that were on, and then she was like, you want to come on just for a couple of shows, just to be my co-host? That was over 5 years ago now.
Like
She's crazy. She gorilla glued my butt to the chair.
Really? I think it's 8 years ago now.
Is it 8 years?
Oh. Yeah.
I'm getting old.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You were guided together.
Yeah.
Like I've known her.
I mean, if you look, here's the funniest thing is like, if you look at fox pictures, just willy nilly on the internet, right? Check. A lot of the fox pictures always have a butterfly around them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And just in case, we are pet friendly. And here, this is Coco, and Light's kissing. There, smooch. Okay, go away. It's an amazing connection that she and I have, considering we've never met face to face.
That is fascinating.
Really amazing.
And the thing is, she will. I know that like when you said, when you go on a journey, you have to have somebody at the door that you trust. I have no doubt that she would be there. Whatever, she would be there for me, because I know that I trust her. Even never having met her, I know that there's the trust. But there's people I have that I trust them, but there's that little doubt, right? And between her and my daughter, that would be the only two that I would have 100% trusted. Maybe my sister. Maybe.
That's great. And that's what
my sisters. My sisters would throw me back down the hole. The left was going down.
Yeah.
You have to build up trust with somebody's in life, right? And it takes a lot of work and inner growth and communication. And that's what we're here for, is to build up some trust. And I talk about, we've got to build it up with ourselves too, become trustworthy to ourselves, and then build up trust through good communication.
Yeah.
Well, you two are that in spades. I mean, honest to God, it's just, I can feel it from here, the energy off of you two. I mean, I can't even imagine being in your house. My ears would be buzzing like crazy. You would be just insane, the energy of you two. So I know you guys, we're going to hear about you all over the place. You guys are going super far.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for helping us and supporting us.
It's been a blast. Can I ask, Norma, where did your mother, your grandmother, where did your connection on this begin?
That's a great question. My lineage originally comes from Wales and Ireland, but my grandmother was an amazing person. She was an orphan from a young age from Canada, and she got herself to nursing school in Providence, Rhode Island, and then she met a wealthy man. They married, but the Depression came along. This is all significant pieces of the story, because she encouraged him to be of service during the Depression, so they moved to an Indian reservation. And they opened a grocery store, and she became the doctor of the whole area, and they just gave their services away because nobody had any money. They couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So they would sometimes barter things, but they just fed the people.
Right.
And she was very psychic, and so she read their dreams, and they would always come to her for, deep healing, as well as the physical needs of getting shots and so forth. And so they were really so much a part of that whole Indian reservation tribal community that at a certain point they adopted them into the tribe. So I grew up as the grandchild benefiting from that. Wow. And then the piece of it is also that my grandparents on the one side and my aunt and uncle on my father's side formed an inner city spiritualist type church in Buffalo. And so in the 1920s, that became a real hub for, anti-slavery and women's rights and all of those things. And it kept growing into, it's a mega church nowadays. And so I have that in my history too, of valuing the supernatural and the power of healing energy and so forth. So anyway, thanks for asking that question, because it's definitely in my lineage, on both sides of the family.
One of the reasons why
I visit your ancestors?
Pardon me?
Do you visit your ancestors on your journeys?
You know what? It's fascinating how they do come into your dreams a lot, right? They come into my dreams a lot, and it's always significant when they do. And there are special drumming journeys that you can do to go to the ancestral realms. And you're probably asking that because you've done that too, but definitely so important to be with the ancestors. We're going to be ancestors pretty soon, right? We're going to be that other.
I am an ancestor.
Right? Life on planet Earth is so weird because it's short.
Yeah.
And then we are in the ancestral realms. So shamanic journeys and dreams take us to those realms and get us used to that journey of letting go of our strongly held ego identity and letting it deconstruct, so that we're comfortable with deconstructing and going through dissolving and coming back into form again, right? So it's a practice to go into the death realms. But the ancestors, they're very much there for us. We need to pay more attention to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to make altars to them, talk to them, and special times to remember them on their birthdays. And
All of that. Oh my
The
God.
reason I asked about, one of the things about me is I don't consider myself to be a medium. I'm an all-around healer. When I read your oracles, whatever the case may be, I feel I heal the mind, the body, and the soul. Sometimes I get people who come in during shows, not all the time, but sometimes. And right now there's an older woman with salt and pepper hair, more pepper than salt. And she's what I call average height. I'm 5'4". So I'd say about 5'4", 5'5". And she's a little round thing. And she's just here. And I was writing notes as we were talking. She's just here. And she's watching and she's smiling. And I just don't know. And that's why I had to ask, because she's not somebody who's normally here.
Sounds like it might be my grandmother. I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's why I said your mother, your grandmother, because I see
My
something.
mother is very short and, plump, and
Grandmother.
my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, my mother's 92 now, though. And I go to visit her quite often, and they live near Gettysburg.
Oh,
Gina was just out there.
yeah.
So I'm there a lot near Gettysburg.
Oh my, you come out here?
Yes,
Then I have to meet you in person. I mean, Gettys is like 2.5 hours from me.
maybe we could drive and meet up with each other. Nisha and I are going to be there pretty soon. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Oh, I hope it's not when I'm away. I have to go to New York. I got to go Manhattan for a week, and then I'm going to
Let's
North
text each
Carolina for a
other
week.
notes about.
Oh God, yes, because I have got to meet you too. Hands down, 100%. Oh, that would just.
We've always wanted to come to Montreal too, so hopefully maybe we'll get up there someday.
We'll all go up and meet Mama D.
Yeah.
Lucid,
Like,
Mama
oh Lord.
never get to meet her.
I was like, people keep saying that they want to meet me. And there's so many different places, different countries that people that I know that want to meet me. And I'm like, I will find a central point, and then you can just come around and meet me.
That would be.
Because I cannot, as I always say as everyone goes, don't you drive? I said, no. The only license I have is a marriage license, which gives me permission to drive my husband crazy, which I'm really good at. I'm an expert. But driving a car, I don't. So it's either my daughter drives me, my husband drives me, or I go by train.
It's great.
Everybody.
Navigating. Yeah. Y'all got to get that book, because even I have to go therapy shopping.
I need this book.
And the deck.
I need the
please.
cards.
Hold that deck up again, please.
Okay.
I need the cards.
Okay.
Yes.
I need you to send me a picture of that.
Lucid Living, it's called. Lucid Dreaming, Lucid Living.
Can they get that on Amazon?
Yes. Everywhere
Okay.
books are sold, just like our other book. Yeah.
Okay, peoples. I will be putting links up. You know me.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Since we're getting down to the end here, what is it that's the most important thing that you can tell people that are newbies that want to get into this? Why your book is so different than all the others?
That's a great question. I would say that, yes, our book is really unique, and we feel proud of it in that way because it's bringing together these various modalities and comparing and contrasting them, which really I haven't found in any other books, where we're talking about dream work, lucid dreaming, drumming journeys, and then psychedelics, and how they inform one another, and really comparing the drumming journeys to the lucid dreaming and dream experiences in ways that are so fun, because it's my mom and I, it's our shared work, right?
Yeah.
Me coming from the lucid dreaming side of things, my mom coming from the drumming journeys and the shamanic side of things, being able to talk about and be in dialogue around how these worlds that we navigate into, these liminal realms, really are there to teach us and to be mapped out personally and collectively. So that's something that really I feel like sets our book aside from others and is accessible to all levels, because we all dream. We can all go on drumming journeys. And
I would love to emphasize that we wanted to write it right now because we wanted to get the message across. There are these precursor trainings that you need to do before psychedelics. You need to get trained in psychonavigating in your mind through dreaming and the lucid dreaming and the drumming journeys, because that's the ancient way. Those are the ancient pathways to learn our own inner maps so that we're better psychonavigators when we take a bigger step. So please know that there are these precursor trainings. And
and everything, but this is in the instant, like everything, everything good takes time. This is one of those things. It's going to take time. It's
to learn mastery, right? It takes time.
Exactly. And then it's going to morph and morph and morph. So, you can master it for right now in a year's time. And then in 5 years' time, it's going to be so different, but it's a life. It's a lifelong thing.
Life path.
Exactly.
Yeah, because this is going to be used for mental health, for helping, healing, mental health issues, traumas, all kinds of things. So, I mean, this is beneficial on so many levels on helping people. And that's the main reason we do our show, is we try to help as many people as we possibly can by introducing them to people like you two, so you're totally amazing. Are you putting up all these links?
The links that are in the chat room now are the links to the Amazon for the book. So if anybody wants to buy it or have that need for retail therapy.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So do you guys have any events coming up right now, or speaking things that?
Yeah, we have a few exciting ones, actually. We're going to be doing a little bit of a Europe tour soon. And so in the beginning of September, we're going to be speaking at a festival in Ireland first called Wild and Well. And then we're going to be speaking at a festival outside of London called Verve. And then in November, in the beginning of November, through the Monroe Institute, their chapter in Italy, they're putting on a conference called Consciousness Unveiled, and we'll be teaching there.
Come join us.
Yeah.
I still gotta get my passport.
Have another event there. I and that's near and dear to my heart. So I want to go so bad. Yeah.
I've got a friend who lives out there, so I'm going to let her know about the Wild and Well, and if it's anywhere near her, she will definitely be there.
Oh, great. Yeah. And then in the springtime, too, we're planning a tour and retreat trip in Japan. So that's really
that would be my
on our newsletter if you want to find out about when that will be announced.
Oh, you guys are just too cool.
I lived in Japan.
I'm like fangirling right now. You're just too cool. I absolutely love it. I do love it. And you just hit like 3 great places. Oh.
We're getting to travel to really fun places and teach about what we love teaching about. So
exactly.
That is great, because the more people you talk to, the more they're going to tell everybody else that they've talked to you. Like I said, you're going far places, way far places.
A little interesting point about this book: it's in 6 languages now.
Hot diggity.
We got it sitting up behind us here: Russian, German, Dutch, French.
Wow. Very nice. Very nice.
So a lot of people will read it all over the world, right? Because it's a time in our world when we really need to remember that we have access to the dream time, and that the spirit guides are always there trying to help us, trying to get through to us and give us the information that we need to know to have hope, and to know that we're evolving, that we're going someplace good on planet Earth. The spirit guides are always trying to tell us that and teach us.
There might be negative around you, but trust me, there's more positive than there is negative. Trust me, the light will outshine the darkness every time. But we have to have a little bit of darkness.
That's why we're here, though, to follow our destiny path and bring the shadow work through to the light.
Exactly. So people really go get the book, get off your tuckuses, go push the buttons, go to the store, buy the books.
I still got to finish it. I'm only
okay.
So much for delving into it deeply, and we love people to email us afterwards and ask us questions and tell us what you liked about it. Yeah, so please be in touch with us.
Yep. Finding the power,
Heather Lynn, just order the book and it will be there in 2 days. Yay, Heather Lynn. Thank you very much.
And the joy of play.
Yes.
Books.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in the book, right? Did you read that story about the fox?
I did, yes. I love it. I'm like, yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, God. All right. Well, we are at our closing time. I cannot thank you two enough, and I really would love to have you guys back on here. And I hope you're going to be planning on doing more books also. It's going to be exciting to see all the things that you do and come up with, and the AI and everything. That would be like, seriously, if you did need, testers, we're available.
We will. We'll let you know when we're ready.
Yeah, stay with us for a few minutes. I'm gonna play our ending video here and say goodnight to you all, and ciao for now. We'll see y'all next week, and we love you so much, and thank you. And please share the show, because these two ladies definitely need to have their beautiful faces and their lovely work put out there. So thank you again, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Great to be with you.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests or our own intuitive oracle card reading shows. We are streaming live on Facebook on my personal page and our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, on Mama D's YouTube channel, Angel Meadows, as well as our audio-only venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest or your reading, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.